Ladies and gentlemen, America's toughest sheriff, Sheriff Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a few notes. If you recall, 5 months ago, I introduced Donald Trump. At that time, I said a few things. We have something in common: the birth certificate investigation, which is still going on, illegal immigration, and one more thing: we share birthday. Not the same year, but the same day, Flag Day, June 14th. And it was really interesting 5 months ago. I think I said something that really drew an applause. I said, his secret is a silent majority. It's not silent anymore. So very proud what he's accomplished in the last, 5 months? Think of that. And I'm supposed to warm up the crowd. He doesn't need a warm-up. He's already hot. So, of course, not around here. It's a little Chicago weather out here. But, he's worked hard, been very successful. And one thing I'm really happy about, he opened the door on illegal immigration. Nobody else had the guts to talk about it. Think of that. Now they all have to talk about it. Of course, you get mixed messages, but that's the way it is in politics sometimes. I want to say a couple of things because I did get some statistics last week that may shock you. I do run the third largest jail system in the United States. And just to show you, I was the top federal drug enforcement official in Turkey, the Middle East, Mexico, Latin America, Texas, Arizona. I don't want to give you my resume, but I say that for a reason. And that's why I really like what Donald Trump is talking about. When you talk about terrorism, the border, it's just not illegal immigration of drugs. We got a big international domestic terrorism problem. Took some statistics from our jail, which may surprise you, and let me run it down. We do have state-sponsored terrorists. So, Sudan, we have 7 in a jail this year, 3 turned over to immigration, 1 from Syria, turned over to immigration, Iran, and then we have some known countries regarding terrorism. I'm not going to go through all, but Iraq, we have 2 that were turned over to immigration. So we have some people in jail for all different types of crimes turned over to the government. I don't know what happens to them. Another thing we did, 7,000 inmates in the jail, charged with all different types of crimes, turned over to ICE. 3,000 have come back to the jails I run. Think of that. One guy came back 25 times. So what are they doing? Hopping the fence? Or are they being released on the streets? They keep coming back. So that's sad. So when you deal with terrorism, and I work in those countries, you never surrender. Never surrender, you never compromise. You destroy them That's what you do. So, and that's what Donald Trump has been saying. Now, he has a flair for speaking and, waving his arms. Sometimes I wave my arms, since I'm Italian. But he gets a message across. Think of that. He says things that a lot of people would like to say, but they don't have the guts politically to say it. So, and that's sad, really sad. Now, if you recall, 3 days before California, I said all those with concealed weapons, 250,000, when they come across a potential massacre, take action. So I took some heat on that, but it's only common sense. Common sense. Actually, I think I got 16 million hits, so somebody likes what we said. And Donald Trump believes in it, because I'm sure he'll do everything he has to do to protect the public, protect our country. And one thing about him, and I've dealt with a lot of people running for president. Last time they all came to see me, wanted my endorsements. I know the game. But one thing about him, I think that he'll really do what he says. I really do. So that's my opinion. I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. And I don't think I'm wrong on that one. So his polls keep going up. Was it around 41% now across the nation? So he must have some followers. I know he's not getting all that support from Mexico. Ramos, the famous, I think they removed him on one of his speeches. He came to see me. 2 weeks later, I had him in the tents. Of course, I let him out. He didn't stay overnight, but I was interviewed by him. And I said, you got all the connections in Mexico City. I've been trying to go to Mexico City. They won't let me in there. I'm talking about the officials. I want to talk to them. Even the U.S. government don't want me to go to Mexico. With all my experience, I thought I could give them some advice. So I asked Jose, you got all these connections in Mexico City. You're always interviewing the president. Can you pave the way for me and Donald Trump to go to Mexico City? Which is great because I get a free airline trip. No. So what is this? I don't know what's going on. So in closing, thank you. Because you're the patriots, and you got a lot of people that believe me. A lot of people won't say it, but they support Donald Trump. They won't tell you, but when they go to that voting booth, watch out. Hey, so thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is space behind the podium if you would like to try and go back there and get the opportunity to maybe be greeted by Mr. Trump. If you go to the right side of the venue space, the Arizona flag side, and walk around the back of the podium that way, there's plenty of room in the back, and we'd love to see you get a little closer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the United States Air Force's first women pilots, Colonel Wendy Rogers.
I salute all of you for being here today. I represent Veterans for a Strong America. And we stand together in support of Donald Trump. 35 years ago, here at this airfield, I flew and was privileged to undergo United States Air Force pilot training when it was Williams Air Force Base, right here at this airfield. And who was our president then? Reagan. What an honor to wear the uniform and to fly under a president who knew what it meant to be a wartime president, a warrior who defended our country, who had backbone, who was resolute, who supported our friends and let our enemies know who they were. We need a wartime president again. We need someone who will stand up and honor those of us who wear the uniform. We will go to hell and back. We will salute smartly and do what we're told. But we need a commander-in-chief who understands, who won't apologize, who will stand up for America. I'm the daughter, the granddaughter, the great-granddaughter of United States Army combat veterans, all the way back to the Civil War. My great-great-grandfather lay on the battlefield, almost to die, and then earned a battlefield commission. And I remember a quote that Lincoln said to his journalists when asked about Ulysses S. Grant. And he said, "I can't spare him because he fights. We need a man who will fight for us as well." And then fast forward to my own father, who graduated on D-Day from West Point and fought under General George Patton and General Patton's Third Army in the Battle of the Bulge. And to me, this is Donald Trump, because this is what George Patton said. We herd sheep. We drive cattle. We lead people. Lead me. Follow me. Or get out of my way. Let's make sure that we stop the era of a feckless, reckless, aimless, rudderless commander-in-chief. We are proud to wear the uniform. We are proud to be Americans. Let's tell the rest of the world in who we elect as our next president. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome again the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Oh. Thank you very much. This is amazing. And I want to thank Bill and Travis. Where's Bill and Travis? They own this place. They gave us a very good deal. You know what it is? Nothing. Where are they? Where are they? Thank you, fellas. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Nice facility. Nice facility. They said they've never had a thing like this before. That's true. We went to 3 or 4 places, and every time we'd sign up, there were so many more people than we thought. It was just an amazing experience. And you know, we all started in Phoenix where I had that big event. We had the big event. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I love you, folks. I love you. Amazing. You know, we all want the same thing. We want to make America great again. I mean, it's like we want the same thing. Last night, I'm sure nobody watched the debate last night, right? Nobody in this crowd. This is a very apolitical crowd. No, we had a little debate. So I'll bet you they got big ratings. I'll bet. You know, I called up the head of CNN. I said, your ratings are through the roof. I think next time I won't do it. I want to maybe not do the next debate just to see it tank, you know, and then I'll do the one. But these debates they've become Super Bowls in a sense. It's been amazing. Do you know that last cycle, no network even wanted the debates? They were considered a wasteland. Nobody watched. They had very few people watching. And now Fox had 24 million, which is now actually higher with the final numbers, but 24 million, the largest ever on cable television. CNN had 23 million, the biggest event in the history, in terms of numbers, in terms of people watching, in the history of CNN. I mean, CNN, in all fairness, they cover wars. They cover lots of different things, some problems, some big events. In the history of CNN, 23 million, according to CNN, was the biggest event they've ever had. And you know what I get out of it? Nothing. Nothing. And think of it. 4 years ago, nobody cared. Do you remember the debates 4 years ago? Did anybody even watch? So we have to take advantage of what we can. You know, so last night was interesting because, number one, I made a pledge because it's just so much easier. It's so much easier. We're going to, you know, it's hard to, they're saying, are you going to run as an independent? I said, you know, I just got a poll where I'm at 41 and other guys are at 2 and 3 and 7. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, I think I'll leave now and I'll run as an independent. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. No, it's amazing. You know, I did Meet the Press a couple of months ago, and I was doing great. I was number 1. I've been number 1. By the way, since I went, they're all talking about it. In the history of politics, they say, this isn't me, it's those people who I don't trust worth any. But, you know, I go through this all the time, and I always say it, although today I think the fact that I did Bill O'Reilly in that corner, they had no choice but to follow. But they never show the crowd size. You know that, right? I always talk about it. I go home, my wife said, did you have many people? Because they just don't show the crowd. They show my face. They never show the crowd unless, and I used to think the cameras were like fixed, that they can't move. You know, modern cameras, a lot of them, they don't work like the old cameras, right? And then all of a sudden we'll have like a protester in the back corner and you'll see these cameras twisted like a pretzel. It's unbelievable. But I think today, look at all of them back there. Look at those cameras. They are the worst people. The worst. The worst. The worst. No, they're very dishonest. Not all of them. 70, 75%. It's true. And some are very good. But you have so many dishonest reporters. I've never seen. In fact, it's almost amazing to me because I consider myself to get the worst publicity. And yet I've got this massive lead. And it tells you two things. They're dishonest and the people are really smart. No, they're really smart. I mean, I'll get stories that are so bad, and then they'll come back, Mr. Trump, sir, your polls just went up 7 points. I say, how could that be possible? People get it. They know the press is dishonest. It's a whole big con job. So it's one of those. In fact, in Phoenix, you remember the crowd? Was anybody at Phoenix? Right? It was like this. We had 15,000 people. They reported it at 4,000 and then 2,000. And then, what's his name? Bernie Sanders. He's gone, so now. He's gone. He lost it when he said Hillary's fine with the emails, and she's not fine with the emails. That was really breaking the law, folks, okay? So he doesn't get big crowds anymore, but he was there a little bit before or after. His crowd, we have pictures. His crowd, my crowd. His crowd was much lighter than mine. He had a lot of people, but it was much lighter. And they say he had more than Trump. Not that it matters, but it's just dishonest reporting. It's one of those things, okay? Now, last night, I had Jeb come at me. You know, low energy. No, I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I hear this, Donald Trump, it's just like... He said it just the way his pollster told him to say it. And then I hit back very, very hard. But look, we need strong people. We need sharp people. We are being killed. We are being beaten by everybody. We're not winning anymore. And I finished up by saying, we aren't winning anymore. We don't win on trade. We don't win against ISIS. We don't win with the military. Our vets are being mistreated so badly. It's horrible. Horrible. So I just want to go over this. So here we are. Ready? Really? They're complaining. Actually, don't complain. You're going to be the only ones that anyone's going to see on television tonight. In a certain way, they have the best location. You'll be happy tonight when you're watching yourself on television. So last night, they do all these polls, and it's great. They poll everything. It's amazing to me. The candidates go out and spend hundreds of thousands for pollsters, right? I don't. I got a lot of money, and it doesn't matter. I have, unlimited campaign. And yet, now think of this. So Jeb Bush, to this point, has spent over $40 million for ads. He's at two. Donald Trump, till this point, has spent $211,000. I don't even know why I spent it. I think I wanted to give some... No, it's true. And I'm at number one by a lot, by 27, 30 points. I'm a lot. So think of it. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that for our country? Think of it. So I spent the least, and I have the best result. Unlike our students, where we're number one in the world by far in terms of cost per pupil, and we're number 28 in the world, okay? You're right. I think I like that guy, right? But no, think of it, because it's like the reverse. So I spent the least. Now I'm going to spend a lot of money, but I was going to have spent up till this point $35 million. I thought I'd need to spend, what do I know? And these guys, as much as I can't stand them, they give me all this free publicity. No, it's true, right? If I put an ad on, people would get sick. They say, oh, my God, we had the whole program, and now we have ads. Please don't put the ad. We actually call networks, please don't put that ad. They cover you for a full hour, and then every 12 minutes they have an ad for Trump. No, it doesn't work. So I was going to have $35 million spent literally right up to this point, and I've spent nothing. I haven't spent anything, but we're ready to spend. We're ready to spend, and we're going to spend a lot. And I think we're going to win Iowa. We just came out where we're leading in Iowa now, which is a great place. But this I love, because this just came out. Drudge. Now, this is with 15 people, right? Drudge is great. How good is Drudge, right? Great guy. He's a great guy. So they do these online polls where they have hundreds of thousands of people. So they vote. Somebody would say, oh, well, they're not reliable because maybe Trump voted. They have hundreds of thousands. Do you think I'm going to have my people sit there and make hundreds of thousands of phone calls? And then they don't report it anyway if I win, because if I win, they don't report it. They have these guys like George Will. You fall asleep listening to this guy. George Will. If he didn't wear the little spectacles, he wouldn't even be bright. Nobody would think of him as... This is George Will. I got to tell you, Krauthammer is terrible. He is so unfair to me. He is the worst. He is the worst. And I'm not allowed to criticize him, so I'm going to be very nice. Krauthammer, he's terrible. He's terrible. You have a guy named Stephen Hayes. I've never even heard of this guy. When my name is mentioned, it's like he's a boiler. He goes crazy. Now, part of the reason is they all said I was never going to run, right? And then I ran. Then they said, well, he'll never file Form A. That's basically a single page where you sign your life away. And I went like this, let's go. Boom, I signed. Then they said, well, maybe he's not as rich as everyone thinks, and he'll never file his financials. And if he does, he'll file them in 2 years from now, because you're allowed a lot of extensions. I filed them ahead of schedule in less than 30 days, okay? Almost 100 pages. And the press was down there. They said they'd never seen anything like it. They were scouring those things. Believe me, I wouldn't be running unless I was really rich, because they would have killed me. And by the way, you haven't read one report, bad. I built a great company. I built a tremendous company, very little debt, tremendous cash flow, the best assets. And the only reason I say it, I'm not saying it because it sounds terrible in a certain way. I don't want to brag, but that's the thinking we need in this country. We have $19 trillion in debt. We have $19 trillion in debt. We built a $43 million gas station in Afghanistan, and it doesn't even sell the right gas. Okay? $43 million. Do you think you could have built that gas station for slightly less? No, you look at the things, the money. We spend $1 billion to build a hospital. You could build 7 hospitals for that. We could take care of our vets for money. We have such stupid people leading us. I used to say they're incompetent. I didn't want to use the word stupid. It's too crude and too tough. They don't know I went to an Ivy League school. I'm really like a smart guy. My uncle was at MIT. He was a professor for years. They didn't believe it. They went and checked. Dr. John Trump. I actually think he was there for 5 decades. MIT, he was one of the great engineer scientists. And, it's like really good stuff. But when they talk about us, they talk about us like, do we know? Let me tell you, these are the smartest people. These are the people that made our country great originally. These are the great people. These are the great people. And we're going to take our country back, and we're going to turn it around, and we're going to run it smart. We're going to run it smart. We give $150 billion to Iran. Listen to this, and this I just heard this morning. So we give $150 billion to Iran. They self-inspect their big site, in other words, where they're making the nukes. Can you imagine you call them, we hear you're making nukes. Okay, well, let us check. They call, no, we're not making nukes there, you dumb son. And then, no, but think of this. Think of this. And then they have the 24-day where they have 24 days. But before the clock starts ticking, you have to go through a whole process. So it could be forever before you get there. And the other thing, look, nuclear is so important. It's more important than anything. And having a deal is good, but we've got to make good deals, not bad deals. But another thing, they got 4 prisoners. They wouldn't even get them out. So I've been complaining about this long before they did the deal. Get the prisoners out. 150. So now the deal is done, and what do I hear this morning on television? That we're now starting a brand new separate negotiation for the prisoners, and they want many prisoners that we have over here for the 4. No, don't. Think about it. Think about it. No, think about it. So now they want to start a whole new negotiation that we should have had 3 years ago when the stupid negotiation began. You go in and you say, before we start, we want our prisoners. They say no. We say, that's okay. You leave the room, you double up the sanctions. They call you back within 48 hours, and they'll say, you got your prisoners. Think of it. We just gave them the greatest deal, one of the greatest deals in the history of countries. We made them a powerful, rich nation. They're going to now have nuclear. They don't even have to waste their time making it. With the money we gave them, they can buy nuclear. Why are they going to make it? They can buy whatever they want. You don't think North Korea is probably calling them, help, 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 we need money, we'll give you some nukes? We are led by the stupidest people I can't even imagine it. So now, here's the thing, and I can't even watch it. I can't even listen to it. So now they want to do a new negotiation for the prisoners. And all we had to do is say, we want our prisoners back. And you would have had them, and they want a lot. And one of the guys said from Iran, we want a lot. Oh, great, great. It drives all of us. That's why we're here. You know, they used to talk about the silent majority. We're not silent anymore, folks. We're not silent. And Hillary Clinton is a disaster. She's going to be beaten. She's a disaster. Don't forget, her and Obama helped get us into this mess with the migration. Her with, let's go into Libya, let's go here. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She wakes up in the morning. I will not say that she puts on her pantsuit because that's what she does. I'm not going to say it. I'm not saying it. I will not say that. She wakes up in the morning. She goes out. She'll go to New Hampshire, Iowa, one day a week or something. Do you ever notice? She'll do something totally staged. She'll pick 4 people. She's always sitting around a little plastic table. There's like 4 people, nice people. I mean, they're hand-picked. Out of 1,000 people, they pick the 4 nicest. They ask her these really innocent questions. And then she leaves and she goes back to sleep for a week. It's incredible. And I'm telling you, I'll tell you what, and the Fox poll just came out, and the Fox poll was very strong that I beat her easily. I beat her easily. And honestly, I mean, look what I did to Bush. I haven't even started on Hillary. I haven't even started. Poor Bush. I hear now he's doing another commercial. He does commercials. You're spending all this money doing negative commercials on me. He's doing a commercial where he uses what he said last night, but he doesn't put what I said to him. And what it is, and it's a big problem in terms of running for office, because, you know, these super PACs are a scam. They're a scam. They're a horrible thing. They're totally corrupt. One of the super PACs, it was written about last week in the Los Angeles Times, they raised $6 million. By the time all of these guys took their cut, they ended up with $140,000 left for their campaign. That's better than being a real estate broker, right? Right? So we have so many things we can do. And I'll tell you, the thing I really look forward to doing, some of the people on the stage I really like. You saw last night that Ted Cruz was very nice to me, and I was nice to him. Actually, most of the people were nice to me last night. I mean, it was pretty good. You know, I went in there saying, boy, this is going to be a tough evening, because I heard all of them were going to come at me, right? 14 of them were going to be coming at me. I was prepared, but I said, this could be unpleasant in front of, you know, millions of people. And out of the 14, you know, Jeb and I guess Rand Paul, who doesn't have a chance. I mean, what's he doing? By the way, what is Rand Paul doing? You know, whether you like his politics or not, his father had a certain spark, right? You know, there was a little spark going there. Rand doesn't have that spark. Rand doesn't have that spark. And I love Kentucky. It's one of the great places, but I don't get it. You know, how does this guy get reelected in Kentucky? I don't get it. I don't know. Is he going to be primaried? Is somebody going to run against him? Because we do want a Republican, but is he going to be primaried or something? But he's a nasty guy. But the father had a spark, and he had something special. Like they say I have. No, I'm only kidding. But he had something special. Rand doesn't have it. So other than those two, I mean, it was really even Kasich was very nice to me last night. I was very surprised. He's gotten beaten up pretty badly. He said, you know what? It's easier to be nice to Trump, right? It's easier, less costly. But he was nice, so we had a good time. So anyway, Drudge, 46%. Now that's out of 15 people. So that means I got 46%. Time magazine, believe me, I don't control time. I was on their cover 4 or 5 weeks ago. They should have picked me for the person of the year, but they didn't. No, they shouldn't. Now you know what, that's not coming from me. They have these panels, and virtually, and I said I'm never going to get it because I'm not establishment, but every panel that I saw on television when Time was, because, you know, it's sort of cool, even though the magazine's going down the tubes, it's sort of, no, it's a cool thing. Most magazines are going down, in all fairness to them. It's great, isn't it, to watch these guys go down the tubes? Isn't it great? I love it. But you know what? Time magazine, so they'd have these panels, and they'd have 5 people around, you know, all the political panels. And almost everybody, even my enemies, said, no, Trump will get it, because he's done something that's never been done before. This has never been done before, folks. And we're really doing something. It's really a movement. What we're doing is a movement. So they said Trump's going to win, and I said I won't. I told my wife, I said they'll never do it. It's just like The Apprentice. For the first 3 seasons, I should have gotten the Emmy for The Apprentice. Got the #1, got tremendous ratings. It was the hottest thing. And they'd pick these shows that were establishment. Amazing Race. You fall asleep watching it. Okay, it's not a race, it's a sleeping contest. Because I'm not establishment Hollywood, I'm not establishment politically. So Time magazine picked a woman who's destroying Germany. She let the migration come right into Germany. She's destroying Germany. And if I have to work with her in a little while, I'll do just fine. But I'm telling you, what she did is wrong. They should have done a safe zone in Syria, had a big, beautiful, fat safe zone, and stopped all this nonsense. And honestly, if it weren't for Obama and Hillary, you probably wouldn't have even had the migration. They are so incompetent. So then Time magazine, 49%. Slate, 51%. Syracuse.com, 49%. U.S. News and World Report, 69%. PBS, public broadcast, PBS, 69%. This is who won the debate. That's all it is. 69%. The Blaze, well, he doesn't like me very much. That's okay. Who cares? I don't even know who he is. 38%. Not bad. It's my lowest one. Washington Times, great paper, 62%. CBS Philadelphia, 59%. Fox 5 Las Vegas, 62%. That's what it is. I mean, you know. And by the way, I just read every single poll. Those are all the online polls who won the debates. And then you'll watch these guys. Now, in all fairness, I actually did watch. You know, when you're on television, you tend to watch no matter who you are. Hey, I want to watch myself. But I went home and I watched. And I must say, for the most part, even the haters, they said he did well. One or two said, well, I didn't think he had a particularly great night. These people are brutal. But who cares? So one of the reasons we've done so well here is because we are going to stop illegal immigration. We have to. We have to. And if we don't stop it, we don't have a country, folks. We don't have a country. We don't have a country. And, you know, I have as big a heart as anybody here. I have as big a heart as anybody. It's like with the migration. Help them. Let's do something. But we can't let them come over, almost more importantly than anybody. Did you see yesterday the big story about the cell phones and what's on? They have ISIS flags and all sorts of beheadings and crimes on pictures on their cell phones. First of all, why are people in a migration having cell phones? That was the first question. It's sort of strange. I mean, who's paying for those cell phones? Where are they coming from? Who are they calling? These are people. Can you imagine many, many, many cell phones? Why? Where do they get cell phones? Who pays their monthly bill? What do? Don't they get billed by the phone company or something? How? I asked that. You know, a friend of mine said, you know, they have flags. And he was talking all about the ISIS flags and also the beheadings on the phones, everything. So, but I said something different. I said, how come they have cell phones? And he said, wow, I never thought of that. You're right. How come they have cell phones? So we're not letting them come in. And if they are here when I get here, they're all going back. They have to. They have to. They have to. They're going back. So we're going to build a wall, and Mexico is going to pay for the wall. They're going to pay for it. And I love Mexico, and I love the Mexican people, and I have thousands of them that work for me, and they're incredible workers with incredible spirit, and they love me. And I'll tell you what, in the state of Nevada, they recently did a poll, and I'm leading with the Hispanics. And everyone's saying, oh, that's because I'm going to produce jobs. I'm going to take our jobs back from China and Japan and Mexico and all these other places. And you know what? The Hispanics that are here legally and that went through a process, those people are all, they're for me because they don't want their jobs taken. They don't want their house taken. They don't want to be overrun by people pouring across the borders. And one of the first things I do, I mean, probably the first thing I do is the good thing about an executive order. What's the good thing? I can walk in, sign, and that's the end of it. I don't have to go through Congress. I mean, Obama never goes through Congress anymore. He does. You know, it just, isn't it incredible? So I'm a Republican, but I'm so disappointed in the Republicans. When we got majority, didn't you think it would be different? It's the same thing. It's the same. I tell the story. Some guy or woman gets elected. They go through hell. We're going to stop Obamacare. We're going to repeal it. And I am going to do that. By the way, it's going to be dead. No. We don't have to worry too much. It's going to die in 17, unless the Republicans work out a rescue plan, which they'll probably do if I'm not there, I will tell you. Obamacare is dead in 17. You know, the wrong people are signing up. It's all messed up. Doctors are leaving. I have a friend. He's a doctor. He's a young guy. He's leaving the profession. He said, I have more accountants than I have nurses. The guy's got more accountants than nurses. So anyway, we are going to take care of Obamacare. We're going to make this place. It's going to be unbelievable. And it can go fast. Now, I'll tell you what can't happen. We can't go through another 4 years of this incompetence, this stupidity. We can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. So we're going to get rid of that. But the wall is so important, and you know it does work. All you have to do is ask your friends in Israel. It works. It's really effective. But I mean a Trump wall. I don't mean a wall that you knock over, you kick it through. I mean, let's see, the height of this building. How high is your ceiling here, man? Travis, how high is your ceiling? Because you're talking about a little bit higher than that. Meaning, if you get up there, man, there's no way to get down. Okay. And it's going to be a beautiful wall because someday they'll name it after me, and I want it to be beautiful. It's true. It's true. And it's going to work. And we're going to have people come in. We're going to have a big door, and we're going to have people come in, but they're going to come in legally. They're coming in legally. And we're going to bring our country back. You know, it's really having a huge impact. And, you know, one of the people that I've gotten to know so many people, students and professors and college heads, because, you know, the student debt's a huge problem. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on everything. We got to work on everything. I mean, there's nothing we can't work on. There's nothing in this country. You know, I said last night, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be the enemy and have one of those suckers coming at me. We just don't know how to use it. The whole thing is like different. But one of the people that I've gotten to know, who's one of the great, great people, the illegal immigration has caused tremendous crime, has caused tremendous death. It's caused economic hurt, as you know, because a lot of jobs are being taken and our citizens don't get those jobs. And again, we're going to have people come in. And we're going to have, if there are some areas like the grape areas, I know a lot of the folks up there, and they say if we can't we'll do some visa program where we get people up. We're not going to hurt industry. We don't want to hurt business or anything. So we'll get the people in. If our people don't want to take the jobs, and I understand that. You know, there's people that don't want certain jobs, and I get it. But we're going to get the people in. We're going to make this country so dynamic. My tax plan, I'm cutting the hell out of taxes for the middle class and for businesses. Corporations are going to bring the trillions of dollars that are outside of the country. They're going to bring it in. They're going to use it here. But one of the people I got to know, and he's a friend of mine, and he had a horrible thing happen. His son, Jamil Shaw, you may have seen him. He's just been amazing. And whenever he's around, I say, do me a favor, say a few words. He'll explain what happened with an illegal immigrant who killed his son viciously and violently. And he's become a friend of mine, and he's a great guy, and he's here with us, and let me bring him up. Jamil, come on up. Say a few words. Jamil.
Hello, everybody. I'll get right to the point. March the 2nd, 2008, my son was shot dead in the street like a dog by an illegal alien gangbanger, 18th Street gangbanger. He was on his third gun charge. Now, we hear all these people talking about banning guns, but you have a legal alien on his third gun charge, never been deported. He was released. He was in jail for assault with a deadly weapon, battery on a peace officer, and resisting arrest. Okay, they only gave him 8 months in the county jail for that. And then they let him out 4 months early. The day he got out, they were, according to the Sheriff Baca in L.A. County, he said that the Latino gang members, the legal alien gangs, Latino gang members, the shot callers ordered them out in the streets the same day they get out because they don't want them to be rehabilitated. So the same day he got out, he was told to go in my neighborhood, and he was looking for blacks to kill. Me and my son went to a football training in Pasadena, and he was getting recruited from Stanford, Rutgers, West Virginia, Texas. I mean, it was really a beautiful thing, you know. I mean, we did 17 years of hardcore practicing, trying to get a scholarship, and we were there. We had it. We had it. And that day we came home from the training. He asked me to go to the mall, like all our kids do. They want to go to the mall, hang out with their friends. I didn't want to let him go, but I let him go only because the day before he asked me to go to a party. Of course, I said no. And I said, you know why, right? He said, I know, Dad, I might get shot. And he was like, man, Dad, you tripping. It doesn't happen like that. Next day, you know. So on the way home from the mall, I called him, where are you? Oh, I'm right around the corner, Dad. Be there in a couple minutes. You know, about a minute later, I heard 2 gunshots really loud. So I knew it was outside from my house. I called his phone to see where he was, didn't answer it. Man, I knew he was shot. I remember asking God, please don't let him be dead, you know. I walked outside, looked down the street, and there he was, laying in the street dead. The legal alien was shot him in the stomach. One of the neighbors saw him walking down the street, and she said that the guy came from behind a parked car. Well, let me go back a second, too. They were in my neighborhood looking for money. The girl that they was driving was a girl driving the car. I never even knew him. She met him while he was in the jail. He gets out. She picks him up, him and one of his friends. They're looking for money. One of the guys said, well, I know a guy who owed me some money. That was my next-door neighbor. That's why they were on my street. As they were coming to my neighborhood, they saw my son walking down the street, and they told the girl to pull over. They wanted to kill him right there, you know, because he had on a Spider-Man backpack. You know, that's what they saw. And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. She kept going, parked right in front of my house. Now, they didn't know that's where he was coming. So he went to the neighbor's house, knocked on his door, and on the way back to his car, saw my son coming. He went to put a hood over his head, ran down the street. One of the neighbors said that he pulled the gun out and shot him in the stomach while he was laying on the ground, according to the coroner, with a .45 in the stomach. You can imagine. 17-year-old kid with a .45 blast in his stomach. That's bad. He was laying on his back, the coroner said, with his hands up, and the guy shot him through his hand into his head and killed him. It was vicious. I heard the gunshots. Of course, I ran outside, and I couldn't believe it. Even today, I couldn't believe it. I remember telling him, man, I told you, people are crazy out there. I had just told him the day before. And, you know, our kids don't believe that, you know. And that's why we need Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is going to make it safe again, you know. Donald Trump is going to make it safe for your kids. My son is dead. I can't fix that. I wish I could. But I have another son, 17 years old. He was 8 at the time. Now he's 17. I told him the other day, man, you know you're older than your brother now, you know, and it's really sad. And Trump is the only person that reached out to me out of all the politicians, all the black politicians in L.A. Nobody cares. It's all about illegal aliens. That's all they care about. They don't care about us as Americans. Trump wants to make America first, okay? We need that. Our kids, all of our kids deserve to grow up. This is our time to live on the earth. Why do we have to be under this oppression from illegal aliens, and they're getting the American dream, and we're getting the American nightmare? You know, it's not fair, and the only way we can fix it is with Donald Trump. I don't see no other way. If it was there, it would have happened. Before Trump, it was nothing going on. Now that he's here, they're scared, and we have to make sure it happens, because it's going to protect all of us and make us safe, and we got to stand with Trump, and you have to trust him the way I do, because I believe that he was sent from God. Thank you.
He's amazing. He's amazing. His son, so many colleges wanted his son. He was a good student, and he was a great football player. And Jamil broke his hand hitting it on the concrete. He was so upset. And so, you know, you can imagine. He was just a very amazing guy, and with an amazing family. He brought some of the members of his family over, his sister and his mother. And it's just, we gave him a ride in that plane. I said, have you ridden in one like that? He said, not yet. But I said, you can ride in it whenever you want. But he is a special man, believe me. We got to take care of our people. We got to take care of our people. So we're going to straighten things out. We're going to take trade back from China. We're going to make money now. Last year, we had a trade deficit of over $500 billion with China. And then we honor China, and we have nothing but problems. They don't do anything with us in North Korea. They have total control over North Korea. North Korea is, you know, we're talking about Iran. Iran, in all fairness, they'll have nukes. Don't worry about it. If I'm president, they won't have nukes. I promise you that. Doesn't matter what the agreement said. I may have to violate that agreement slightly. You don't mind, do you? They will have nukes unless I'm there. But China, we have tremendous power over China, but we don't know that because we have people that have no business ability. All you have to do is look at the Iran deal where we give them the $150 billion and all of those things. That's right, the art of the deal. The art of the deal. The man. It's my man over there. Good. I'll try signing that for you. Thank you. But we have to do something. We have to use our heads. So we have $500 billion a year in trade deficit. China. We have way over $75 billion with a B dollars a year trade deficit with Japan. With Mexico, the number is enormous. That's why these politicians, they get up the other day and they said, Mexico will never build the wall. Of course they will. They're making a fortune. The wall's peanuts compared to what they're making. But you have to know they have no business ability whatsoever. And I like them. They have no business ability whatsoever. And some, like Jeb Bush and others, they're not strong enough. They don't have the power. They don't have whatever it takes. They don't have it. And you know what? I don't want to be a nasty guy, but I don't care anymore. We have to get the right people in. I don't care. I don't care anymore. We can't have a continuation of this stupidity, of this incompetence. We can't do it where we have Carolyn Kennedy negotiating trade pacts with Japan. I want Carl Icahn. I want the killers of Wall Street to do it, and they all want to do it. They don't want anything. They want to do it. Their ego makes them want to do it. Some of them actually love the country. And you know what? Some of them are not nice people. Who cares? Who cares? So we're going to take back trade. We're going to take back jobs. You know, we have lost so much. If you look at what, hey, everybody beats us, but China has really done, and I've been talking about this for 10 years. We're going to take back trade. We're going to take back jobs. And you know what? China's going to like us better than before. And people say, what are we going to do? Because I get along with people. Believe it or not. In fact, they say, you get along with Democrats. That's terrible. I said, I'm a world-class business guy. I have to get along with everybody. I get along with everybody. That's my job. But now I'm running against somebody that's really shouldn't even be allowed to run. She shouldn't be allowed to run. There's no reason that she's able. How is she able to run when Petraeus, his life was destroyed, and he did 5% what she did? How is she able to run? Don't worry. We'll be going into it. We'll be going into it. But we're going to bring our jobs back. We're going to bring trade. We're going to make trade. A friend of mine, I tell this story all the time. He's an excavator. He digs big, big foundations and structures. He digs, he's a tremendous excavator. And he buys a lot of equipment. And he always bought Caterpillar. By the way, look what's happened to that stock. And I was telling this story a year ago. So I predicted it. Just like I wrote about Osama bin Laden in my book, The America We Deserve. I wrote about Osama bin Laden in the year 2000 before the World Trade Center got knocked down. That's pretty good, right? But he's an excavator, and he sees me, and he's very disappointed. I said, what's wrong? He said, I just ordered a tremendous amount of equipment from Japan. It's named Komatsu. I said, how is it? He said, it's good. It's not as good as Caterpillar, but it's very good. But they cut the yen. They manipulated their currency. I couldn't do anything else. I owed it to myself and my family. I couldn't do anything else about it. And that's what's happening. And I see it. And look at Caterpillar stock. I saw this 2 years ago. Look what's happening to our companies are being decimated by currency manipulation. And we have politicians that don't even know what the words mean. We have a politician that won't even talk about radical Islamic terrorism. He will not issue the term. And how do you solve a problem if you don't want to even talk about it? And I've had friends of mine that are Muslims. I have great relationships with Muslims. I have partnerships with Muslims. And they called me up the other day. They said, not all of them, but they called me up, some very prominent. And they said, you have done a tremendous service. And all I'm doing is, we have to figure out, folks, what the hell is going on. We have some really bad stuff happening. And they called me up and they said, Donald, you've done us a service. You really have done a great service. And I was surprised to hear him say it. But they know much more than we do that they have a problem. And we've got to solve the problem. But you can't solve the problem if you put yourself in a corner and don't want to discuss it. You can't do it. So we're going to solve a lot of problems. We're going to take that trade back. We're going to be tremendous. You know, Ford is building a tremendous plant in Mexico, right? We don't get anything. They're closing plants in Michigan. What are we doing? How does that benefit us? They're going to build in Mexico. Then Mexico's going to make cars, trucks, and parts, and they're going to send them into us. No tax, no nothing. We're like the stupid people. Not going to happen. Nabisco is moving a big factory from Chicago to Mexico. I'm never eating Oreos again. I'm telling you. I'm never eating them again. I'm not eating them again. That kind of stuff is not, we're just not going to let them compete. But damn it, if they're going to do that and we're going to close up jobs and factories, they're going to pay tax when they send that stuff back into the United States. They're going to pay tax because it's unfair. Tennessee was going to build this big plant from a foreign car company. It was all set. The deal was all done. All of a sudden they announced, it's a great state, incredible people. I mean, I have rallies in Tennessee. You wouldn't believe it. All of a sudden, they announced it's going to Mexico. It's not going to Tennessee. We're not going to let that crap happen. We're not letting it happen, all right? We want jobs. We're not going to be the people that are led by stupid people, and we're embarrassed to almost... I had a person the other day. It's a terrible thing to say. The person was in Europe. They were embarrassed to say they're from the United States. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? You know, in the old days, my daughter was telling me this, Ivanka. Anybody hear of Ivanka? Yes. She's a great person. But she said, you know, Dad, in Europe, when she was in Europe as a little girl, she said a lot of things were made in the USA. They'd say, made in the USA, and that was quality. And I remember it, and some of you remember it. Made in the USA, made in the USA. And if it said made in Japan, that was cheap stuff, that was junk, right? Remember? If it had a made in Japan label, it was garbage. Now it's like, you don't see, I don't even know if we have signs that say made in the USA. I haven't seen this. Do they use that sign anymore? And she said in Czechoslovakia, which was communist, they would take a dollar bill and people would scotch tape it to the windshield of their car because they were so amazed and so proud of America. They just wanted any symbol, and they'd take dollar bills and scotch tape them because they had, I guess the word's not pride, they had respect for our country. We don't have that anymore. We're not respected by anybody anymore. That's why we have crowds like this. Look, everywhere I go, I have crowds like this. Everywhere. Everywhere. We have the biggest crowds by far because there's a movement going on, folks. This isn't just like, let's go and have a good time. Somebody said, oh, Trump's a great entertainer. That's a lot of bullshit. I'll tell you. We have a message. We have a message. And the message is we don't want to let other people take advantage of us. I was saying, we have rebuilt China. We've rebuilt it. You go over to China now, they have bridges like the George Washington Bridge all over the place. That's like a small bridge. All over the place. We've rebuilt it with the money they've sucked out of here. Think of it. Think of it. They take our jobs. They take our manufacturing. They take our money. They take our base. And we right now owe China $1.5 trillion. Can you believe it? It's like a magic act in reverse. It's not happening with me. I have endorsements from incredible people, the people that I want. You know, I don't care if a guy like Jeb Bush never endorses me. It wouldn't bother me at all. I think it's a negative if you want. But I have guys like Carl Icahn, who's a great business guy. I mean, those are the endorsements we need. And those guys have to go and put their genius to work and show us how great they are. Nobody can beat our business people. We have the greatest in the world, but we don't use them. We use political hacks. We use donors. We use special interests that make deals in order that their companies and their countries are taken care of. That's what we do. So, you know, I'm self-funding, okay? I'm self-funding. I'm putting up my own money. I mean, when I fly in that plane, believe me, it's expensive. I pay for it, okay? But you know what? I'll tell you what. A lot of people, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I had people that said, you have no idea what, you know, how important it is. I get so many applause. I have turned down tens of millions of dollars, people wanting to put money into this campaign, into PACs. I've turned it down. I actually feel a little foolish. My whole life I've been taking money, give me more money. And I turn it down. And when I go to Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina and tell them, like, I'm self-funded, the people go crazy. It's a big deal to them. You know, I had an interesting case in Iowa about 4 weeks ago. I had a big crowd. I said, let me tell you, I feel very guilty turning down all this money. Supposing I took it, and I swear to you, I will not be guided by the people that gave it. They all stood up and started booing me. They didn't want it. And they're right. They're right. So amazing things are happening. We had 35,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. We had 20,000 people in the Dallas Mavericks arena. It was an unbelievable, and we had like 3 days, 4 days to fill it up. We had 20,000 people in Oklahoma. In Iowa, we have the biggest crowds by many times. And I couldn't say it with all those sleazebags up there. I couldn't say it. Honestly, I couldn't say it. Because they say, oh, it's not true, it's not true. You know, you'd have headlines, it's not true. But I have the most incredible crowds. I go to Iowa, I go to New Hampshire, I go to South Carolina. Unbelievable. It's the same thing. It's this way no matter where we go. And I call it we because it's we. We're all together. It's not me. It's we. It's we. So when I started this journey, as I said last night, it's a journey. It took a lot of guts. I mean, it takes guts to run for president, that I can tell you. But when I started this journey in June, I was really focused on trade and China and Japan and Vietnam. That's another one now. They're doing a number on us. They're taking a lot of jobs, a lot of business. I know more. They're all doing numbers. Everybody's doing a number. We're like the big bully dummy that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But when I started, it was all about trade, and it was about the border. And because I'm so strong on the border, nobody can be stronger than me on the border. I tell you what, you know, do you ever notice how these guys are all pivoting? They're all weak. They were a member of the Gang of Eight. You know the Gang of Eight? Come on in, folks. Do whatever the hell you want. You'll be a citizen. Don't worry about it, right? Now they're all, and they were all saying, oh, what terrible language with Trump, and what a terrible. Now they're all coming. They're trying to be more and more. They can never get more so than me because, number one, I know how to do it. Number two, Mexico's paying for it. I know how to get them to pay for it. These guys, every one of them said, you'll never get Mexico to pay. For me, it's easy. It's like that CNBC debate where they said, no, we're going to make it 3 hours instead of 2. I said, no, you're not. Everybody said, you'll never be able to negotiate with them. I said, yes, I will. Who wants to sit and watch a 3-hour debate? 2 hours is bad enough. I could debate for 25 hours, but who the hell wants to watch for 3 hours? So they said, you'll never be able to get out of it. I said, yes, I will. I called the head of CNBC. Took me 3 minutes, and we had a 2-hour debate. It's true. It's true. So here it is, folks, in a nutshell. The trade stuff is easy. And I focused on it so much until Paris. To be honest, Paris, not this country, but same thing, Paris. And by the way, if some of those people that were slaughtered in Paris, with 130 dead and many more going to die, they're decimated. They're in very sad shape. As we have in California, more going to die, they're in very bad shape. We have 14 dead, more going to die. If some of those people in Paris, probably the #1 place anywhere in the world for gun control, Paris and France, you can't have a gun. Unless you're a bad guy, you can walk in with whatever you want. If some of those people had a gun tied to their ankle, or a gun tied right up here to their waist, or a gun right over here, they would have had a hell of a fighting chance, and I guarantee you, the result would have been a hell of a lot better. Would have been a hell of a lot better. I mean, it's incredible. You know, you talk to some people, especially me. I come from liberal New York City. Everything's Democrat inside. And they said, oh, gun control. But I said, supposing, and I'm talking with very smart people, very successful people, but they're, you know, for gun control. And I'm the exact opposite. I think they're so great. So you debate them. And you just bring up those examples. And they know they can't win the debate, but you don't change their mind. You don't change their mind. Second Amendment has to be preserved and strengthened, but it has to be preserved. We cannot let them take that away from us. And believe me, there's a movement to take it away, and now their new movement is bullets. They want to take bullets away. If I become president, believe me, you can relax. Nothing's going to be happening, okay? Nothing's going to be happening. Just quickly, Common Core, we have to bring our education back locally. We'll save a fortune. We want the parents like you and you and you. I see it. I see it in your eyes. We want the local people to take care of their kids' education as opposed to bureaucrats in Washington. When I see guys like Bush and others that are for Common Core, it's just a way of taking care of your friends. What that is bureaucratic nightmares. They have people couldn't care less about your children. I mean, maybe some of them do, but a lot of them really just care about how much money they're going to make a month or a week. And we're bringing education back locally. I told you before, we're number 28, and we spend more per pupil by far. Number second isn't even close. So obviously it's not working. So we have a lousy educational system. We're going to change it. We're going to bring it local, and it's going to be great. And it's going to take place like immediately. It'll go quickly. It'll go quickly. So it's so important. So just in finishing this, we're bringing back our jobs. I can do that so easy. It's changed a little bit since Paris and since California, where a lot of the polls that came out, they say Trump is number one on security. Trump is number one on terrorism. And you know what? By far, it's like you see the numbers. I get these massive numbers on terrorism. Like everybody wants Trump for the protection because they know I know what the hell I'm doing. And it's not political, and it's not politically correct, but it's really correct. It's going to save everybody's life. I had a thing last night. I talked about the internet. So ISIS is using our internet much better than our people, right? Even though we invented the internet, ISIS is using it. So last night I said, I want to infiltrate the internet, but people said, oh, that's freedom of speech. You can't do that. This one, that one. We need security. I said, wait a minute. This is ISIS. They want to kill you. Well, we don't know about. Where are these people coming from? Where do they come from? They are using the internet so brilliantly. The good news is we have people in Silicon Valley that are far better than they are. We have to get them involved. We have to get them engaged. Whether we knock the hell out of their internet system in the ISIS territories, which, by the way, are getting larger by the day. How long have I been saying bomb the hell out of their oil, right? Right? 3 years. And I said, when we leave, take the oil. I don't want to just bomb it. I want to take it. And I wanted to give it to our wounded warriors and our vets and the families of people that were killed. So we're going to make our military so strong and so powerful that nobody's going to mess with us, and we'll never have to use it. It's going to be cheap. We'll never have to use it. Don't forget, I was against the war in Iraq, and you see that. They go back to 2003 because I said you're going to totally destabilize the Middle East. I was against it. We're going to make our military so strong. We're going to take care of our vets. We're going to take care of them. They're treated horribly, and it's never been worse. Hillary, 3 weeks ago, said, actually, the vets are treated very well. Then she had to recant her statement. No, but is that true? 3 weeks ago. We are going to take care of our great veterans better than ever, and we put in a plan, and everybody loves it. We're taking care of our vets. We're getting rid of Obamacare. We're going to come up with something that's great. And I will tell you, I just hope you go out and vote because, you know, we have a little structural problem where the Republicans have a disadvantage at an election. So unless it's going to be a movement type of event like I think is happening, where we can actually run the table on them. But unless it's going to be something like I see happening, I mean, look at you in the middle of a day. You don't want to be, you're sitting in a hangar with thousands and thousands of people. Something is going on, and it's beautiful to see. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make America great again, better than ever before. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.